What is linguistic criticism? Linguistic criticism is a mode of textual analysis, associated mainly with the British linguist Roger Fowler, which concentrates on the relationship between language use and the social world. Texts are viewed as the medium of discourse and as objects to be analyzed by using a precise terminology and concepts, as opposed to the often vague analytic notions invoked by so many advocates of close reading and practical criticism. Linguistic codes are said to interpret, organize and classify topics of discourse in such a way as to embody theories of how the world is organized. The task of linguistic criticism, which has a lot in common with Roland Barthes' analyses in his mythologies, is to unravel such codes. Roger Fowler draws here on the idea of ostranenie or defamiliarization elaborated by Russian formalism. Whereas language appears to have a natural tendency to degenerate into fixed or fossilized meanings, the task of linguistic criticism is to make these appear new, unfamiliar and non-naturalized by returning them to the historical and political dimension of social life. The task is defined in explicitly political terms, that is, a training in linguistic criticism will equip individuals to resist familiar ideological meanings and constructs and then to question the structures of a society that benefits from its members' lack of critical consciousness. In principle, any form of text is open to linguistic criticism and the method has been successfully applied to the analysis of newspaper reports. Fowler argues that the way in which newspaper headlines are constructed is not essentially different from the mode of construction used in Alexander Pope's Rape of the Lock, and he has little sympathy with those who argue that literature is a special or autonomous form of discourse. Arguing strongly against the new criticism's insistence on the poem itself, linguistic criticism stresses the need to bring historical and documentary knowledge to bear on the text. By doing so, linguistic criticism can reactivate for modern readers patterns of language that may have lost their force because of historical changes in the language or because the text itself has become overfamiliar. One example is a careful analysis of the shifting use of you and thou in King Lear. The historical sociolinguistic analysis of the way the pronouns are used reveals relations of power that would have been obvious to Shakespeare's contemporaries, but which are less apparent to an audience speaking a form of English in which the you/thou distinction has become blurred.